After reviewing hundreds of bags and responding to tens and thousands of comments, there are some recurring hot takes in the bag world that drive me absolutely crazy. Here's 7 of them. Now, first of all, a disclaimer, guys. Obviously, the word hate is a strong, very triggering word. I got nothing but love for everybody in this community, but I wanted to talk about some spicy topics with some hot takes that I hear in the comments often. And I wanted to bring up some that I passionately disagree with for the sake of starting conversation. I love debate. I love conversation. I love people having different perspectives on things and being like, cool, that's the way you do it. That's the way I do it. Good game, bro, right? Meet in the middle and live to see another day. And having said that, I love to have debates and have these conversations. So if I explain my position in this video and you still disagree with me, you still think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. And one last note is there's no particular single comment that I'm pulling from for these takes. I just had to think to myself, what comments have I seen over and over throughout the years that I full-heartedly, passionately disagree with. Let's start with the first one. One that is very near and dear to my heart is when some people say a variation of big brands should not use Kickstarter. And that's the nicest version of this comment. Usually it's, oh, Alpaca's using Kickstarter, what a scam. Or, oh, Peak Design's on Kickstarter, why are they stealing people's money? Or some sort of position where people believe that a large brand using Kickstarter as a platform is wrong. I think that position is very wrong. Here's why. If you don't know, Kickstarter is a platform that allows brands to crowdsource, which is basically fundraising. Somebody goes on Kickstarter, they make a page and say, hey guys, I have an idea for this product. And to make it, we need to raise 10,000 USD, as an example. And if we don't raise that much money, we will not be able to make it. But if we do, and you're one of the people who funds us and helps to support that vision that we have, then you'll get the product at a tasty discount. So that's how Kickstarter started, was with these small brands putting themselves out there and finding their community and getting funded. And it was amazing watching Kickstarter in its early days. And so many bag brands got started that way, like Peak Design, like Nomadic, Manal, Wandered, Boundary Supply. I mean, the list goes on. Bags and Kickstarters go hand in hand I always say tacos and tequila. I gotta come up with a new one. And that's why I think that a lot of people have this take, is because they miss the good old days when Kickstarter was only used by small, scrappy little brands. And it pains people to see established brands using Kickstarter in the same way. But it's still a bad take, in my opinion, and here's why. Because Kickstarter can do the same thing for a large company that it can do for a smaller company. It's just allowing a brand to test the waters on a product that might be a little bit of a gamble. And I'd say that Kickstarter is just as important for large brands too, because it helps reduce waste. I'm not the world's most eco-friendly warrior, but at the end of the day, a brand who believes in a new product, let's say Peak Design wants to start making speakers, right? And they're like, cool, let's put $5 million into ordering speakers, and then we're gonna get it to our warehouse, and then we're gonna sell it, and then boom, the speakers are an absolute flop. Now Peak Design is probably gonna throw away or destroy a lot of the speakers. It's sad, but it's just the truth of what happens for e-commerce companies who can't move products, because that then costs them money because they have to store that product in warehouses, and those warehouses are charging them rent. So if they're not selling the product, they have to destroy it. So look this up, it happens all the time. It's just the industry. And it's not just e-commerce, it's retail, it's just the thing with physical products. At the end of the day, if it's not selling, it's a waste. So Kickstarters allow brands to completely circumvent that with something that might be a little bit riskier. But it's not just the brand that wins. The backer, the community member, the person who says, whoa, Peak Design is starting a speaker? That's awesome. And they're gonna sell it for 200 USD, but I can get it at 115 discount right now? That's a win-win. Peak Design was able to validate a product that may have been risky for them, and the consumer was able to back a product and get it at a huge discount. It's literally the epitome of a win-win. I understand you might miss the glory days where just where there wasn't big brands on Kickstarter. It's getting absurd, right? I think Clarins was on Kickstarter. Big brands are using Kickstarter now. I know it kind of takes away the magic a little bit, but it's not a scam. And it's actually still a good thing, I think, for the world and for just capitalism as a whole. I can keep going, but I'm gonna stop right there. Let me know if you disagree with my take. It's something I'm clearly passionate about, probably because I've run a Kickstarter myself, so maybe I'm blind to my own experience. right? Because I had to do a Kickstarter for Fyro, and I wanted to do more Kickstarters in the future. So let me know your take on my take in the comments below. All right, next up we have CT, Choi and Tactical, is a showcase that bags are overpriced. I've seen a lot of variations of this take as well, and for some context, CT is Choi and Tactical, and they're a Vietnamese backpack brand. And what they do is they use a lot of the high quality materials and fabrics that a lot of the other brands will use, and they'll make bags that are just as good a quality as the other bag brands will make, but the prices are just different. Like a GoRuck or a Boundary Supply bag will be like $200-300, $400, and a CT bag will be like $50 to $100. And a lot of people will say, that is all the evidence I need to know that GoRuck and Boundary Supply, examples in this scenario, are greedy people, and they suck. And it's just also not true again, because we have to look at economics. We have to look at the different situations these companies are in. Now, I don't think that Boundary Supply is necessarily overpriced for everything, but they're constantly a company that is brought up in this conversation for having very highly priced products. But Boundary Supply is a US company with US employees that have to pay US minimum wages and US healthcare and all these different things that really stack up in the cost category. Versus Choi and Tactical, they're based in Vietnam. And if you look at the wage disparity in terms of how much you need to live comfortably in the US versus how much you need to live comfortably in Vietnam, they're just two different conversations. Neither is better than the other, but they're two different realities for two different businesses that operate in two different countries. And Choi In just doesn't have the overhead that Boundary Supply or Peak Design or Waterfield or Air or Bellroy, that these other companies that live in other countries have, right? The overhead is just a very different situation, very different story. This is the interesting conversation of like globalization and a globalized marketplace. Like hypothetically, let's say that, you're from Boston, you're probably upset because you probably watch the Celtics lose to the Miami Heat again. So like, I'm gonna buy a backpack to cheer me up. And you can get a GoRuck backpack or a Choi and Tactical backpack. And the GoRuck backpack is made in USA and you can buy it locally and it's gonna cost you 400 USD, or you can be like, oh, I'm gonna get it from these guys that are actually in Vietnam and they own their own factory and they have lower overhead and I'm gonna pay a fraction of the price. Personally, I'm all for it because each company has their own unique selling points. A lot of people want to support GoRuck because they want to support Made in America, jobs in America. Maybe it's in their community, right? Some people just want the lowest price possible, and that's what CT is. It's awesome for CT. So I think the moral of the story is that prices aren't a reflection of one company being a ripoff versus another, when really like the details of how these companies are run, where they're from, how many employees they have, what benefits they offer those employees, and everything in between are actually what's really gonna dictate the price. Lifetime warranty. Like, lifetime warranty is really gonna kick up the price. CT, I'm not picking on these guys, right? I love CT, but they only offer a 2-year warranty. That's caked into their price, dudes. Like, if you have to offer a lifetime warranty, you have to raise the price to then cover the costs of people claiming that warranty 12 years down the road. CT only offers a 2-year warranty, so they don't have to worry about that, so they can also lower their prices. So CT makes great bags, GoRuck makes great bags, Peak Design does. I love all these guys. Just keep in mind, the business models are different. Okay, next up, I've gotten this take a few times, particularly from John, the reviewer from Unpacked. And the take is, Dangle is okay. And it's not. It's just not. Everybody knows this. If you think that Dangle is okay, there's something wrong with you. It's not okay. You got a bag and then the dangle's flopping all over the place. I cannot understand this perspective. Actually, no, I kind of can. So I think that Dangle is never okay if you're like me. You live in Hong Kong or a city and I'm just waltzing around my backpack doing this like nonstop, right? I got a very vicious arm swinging game when I'm walking with my bag. And then it's just dangle arm. It's just like a battle. It's a battle of the arm versus the dangle. And they're just constantly karateing each other and nobody wins, everybody loses. But if I'm in a situation where I'm not walking with my bag as much and it's kind of in my car, like John from Unpacked, like I know he walks a lot with his bags, but he's probably car-ing to and from work. It's a little bit different of a situation, but even then, I barely get it. And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna stick with it. I hate this take, Dangle is not okay. But if you like Dangle, I'll hear your perspective. I'll hear you out. Let me know in the comments below. We'll chat, and I'll convince you you're wrong. Next up is some variation of you cannot trust a YouTuber who does affiliates, which is obviously, this is close to home for me because I'm a YouTube bag reviewer. And we always use affiliate links. Not always. I mean, there's plenty of bag brands that we don't. I think people assume that every single link that we say, hey, use our link is an affiliate link, when oftentimes it's not. A lot of these bag brands don't even have affiliate programs. Let's just take Waterfield, for example. We've done like 4 or 5 Waterfield reviews in the past months, and they do not have an affiliate program. We don't make any money if we sell, if you buy a Waterfield bag using our links. We always say use our links just so we can see like how many links that we're getting with clicks, and just like, from a business perspective, it's good to know, what's happening from that perspective. But like, we don't make any money off of Waterfield, off of CT. A lot of these smaller brands too, like they just don't have affiliate programs. So just because we do affiliates with some brands doesn't mean we do affiliates with all brands. And even if so, like, at the end of the day, the argument is that if you make a business out of something, then therefore the trust is lost. And I just think that's not true. I do think fundamentally it can compromise the integrity of your business, and therefore like our business is reviewing, potentially, right? I see that argument. But at the end of the day, you have to look at what the brand is doing. Are they continually just backing like one product or one brand over and over again? There's certain times that we do that, right? Like there's certain bags that I'm freaking crazy about. I love the Bellroy Venture Ready 2.5 liter sling. I just want the whole world to try it. It's such a great sling. But like, I have no problem also just trashing other Bellroy products that I don't think are great. Like if you watch the reviews of the day pack, the Bellroy Classic Backpack and the roll top. If you think I'm ever a Bellroy show, like watch those. Or their new classic slings. I did not like those either. Like, we're not just here shilling for Bellroy, but Bellroy's got some great products. Light travel backpack and the Venture Ready 2.5 liter. I'm gonna push that all day because I think they're great products, and I read every comment on many baggers and in this community, and people feel the same way. So it's an easy recommendation to make. And then also it helps us to pay the bills, make sure our employees can have awesome lives with awesome jobs, and so we can keep making awesome bag reviews. And if you think that you can never trust a bag reviewer who dips their toes in affiliates, then you can probably never watch bag reviews, because everyone who's a bag reviewer kind of goes through the same process from my perspective, where they start and they're either against it or they don't want to really do affiliates because they're not comfortable doing it. But then after a certain period of time, like, holy crap, making videos is really expensive. Ours costs us at least $500 to $700 USD per video, depending on, how long it takes and how big of a video it actually is. Those costs gotta get covered, right? So if you've been making enough reviews, you think to yourself, well, I'd like to see, get a little bit back from this, maybe even run a business out of it, but that doesn't mean that it has to compromise the integrity of my reviews. Next up, you aren't critical enough at Nomads Nation. And again, a take that I'm gonna passionately disagree with. Because I think actually we're really critical at Nomads Nation. Not as a bag as a whole, but for particular features on a particular bag, absolutely. I just reviewed this guy like an hour ago, the Able Carry Core Sling, and like, this is a great example of what I want Nomads Nation reviews to be, where I talked about, I love this pocket, love this pocket, I didn't love this pocket, and I think that this shoulder strap is not awesome. I do not like that at all, right? And there's my review. I'm less inclined to say an entire product sucks though, and here's why. Because I think context is really important. And like I said, I have read and every comment on this channel and responded to at least 90% of them. And not everybody sees things the way that I see things. And that's fine, because we all have different perspectives, except it's not fine when it comes to Dangle. We should all have the same perspective that Dangle is bad. But like, I can't say that the shoulder strap on this, like, this bag is awful, don't buy it, shoulder strap sucks, screw Able Carry, save your money. Because the truth is that I've read the comments, and a lot of people are really excited about the extra padding and the extra fabric on the shoulder strap and all the extra versatility when it comes to being able to lengthen the strap and tighten it, things that I think are a little bit of a nightmare with this sling. So for us at Nomads Nation, I try to be less caught in like my personal perspective, and I try to think in the context of a product. So yeah, I've never gone out and said, hey, this bag sucks, don't buy it, because for some people, this is a dream bag. And I always want to try and do the pros and the cons through the lens of objectivity as best that I can. Sometimes I fail, but that's always the goal. And I read a lot on Reddit, many baggers, one bag, and just like in general, they wish that reviewers would just say, be more like black and white. This bag you should buy, this bag is a ripoff. Don't waste your money on that bag. And I just think that everyone has different preferences, so I don't have the, I don't got the balls to say that because I just think that what doesn't work for me can work for somebody else. So here at Nomads Nation, our goal is to sort of paint the picture so that the viewer can decide if a bag is for them or not. The next take is some variation of, why can't this bag fit my 2-liter water bottle? What the f? And then my response is like, what the f? Because your 2-liter water bottle is huge, dude. It's like this big. And the profile, the side of the bag is just it's not gonna work. I understand. You're either really obsessed with hydration or your water bottle is your emotional support. I love that. But we gotta be realistic about what a backpack can and cannot carry. Or people are like, my 1-liter bottle, this bag, it's eating into the main compartment a little bit. It's like, the bottle is this big. So I think that we should be a little bit more realistic about what bags can carry comfortably and in these small side pockets that have limited space. But I also know water bottles are just a very emotional thing in general. Like, people in the comments, I read this all the time, they're looking for bags that'll fit their $20 water bottle. And they'll spend $500 in the bag, they don't care, but it has to fit the $30 Yeti water bottle. And then I'll be like, well, why not just get a new water bottle if you have the budget, for the $500 bag? Like, no, that's my water bottle. If there's anything I've learned responding to the comments is that people love their water bottles. I hope to one day have that relationship with my own water bottle. Maybe one day. Last hot take that irks me is some variation of, would it kill them to make more color options? Because for some brands, it actually might. Here's what I'm saying. I understand in an ideal world, we're in backpack utopia land. And every bag out there has 13 different color types with 5 different fabric types. And then you as the consumer can pick the one that is absolutely perfect for you. But unfortunately, utopia backpack land, it doesn't exist yet. Hopefully one day. And the reason is because of 3 little letters, MOQ. And what MOQ stands for is minimum order quantity. And basically, this is the minimum amount of a product that you have to order from a factory for the factory not to start charging you surcharges on top of your order. Let's do the math real fast. Let's say your typical $250 or $300 backpack, it costs like $60 to make usually, right? Usually there's like a 5X, a 4 to 6X, let's call it 5, between what it costs to make something and what is charged for something, especially in the backpack world. It's not always the case. I think that if y'all Raven Conkin, I'd guess that bag costs like $5 to make and they're charging $100 for it, so that's a 20X. Air, I'll bet you that bag costs like $60, $70 to make, the Air City Pack Pro 2, let's say, and they're only charging $215 for it, right? So that's a 3X, right? So there's an enormous variation, and I'm also just guessing, but more or less, let's call the average around 5X. And I've seen bill of materials for some bags from factories that, brands that I know of, and I'm like, oh yeah, 5X. And Firo, we're usually around 5X as well. Okay, so long story short, we go back from the 5X to, let's just say that the bag costs $60 to make. Well, the factories are gonna charge an MOQ, minimum order quantity, for that $60 bag of 600. So now, I believe it should be 36,000. I'll do it on my calculator. So let's do the math real fast. It should be 36,000, but 60 times 600 is 36,000, cool. She's like, cool, we'll take 600 in black. And we do 100 in green. The factory's like, no problem, but you gotta pay twice as much for the green. Like, what? Yeah, you're under the MOQ. So if you want your bags to be $60, you have to order 600 of them. But if you're only gonna order 100, then we're gonna charge you 120 per bag, as an example, right? It'll depend on the factory and what their actual policies are. And then that $120 bag, after you pay for the cost to make it and to send it on a freight and to pay customs and taxes and to get it into the country and ship it to the customer's front door, you've lost all your money and now you're not making any money on the bag, right? Which is bad business. So what you have to do is, if you don't want to pay those surcharges, you have to order an MOQ per SKU. And the SKU is the actual product. So what that means is you can't take the 600 and do, I'll do 300 in green and 300 in black. No, factories don't work that way. Every color is a different SKU. Every SKU has a different MOQ. So what that means is, if you want to do a bag in black and in green and pay the lowest price possible to make your business profitable, you have to order 600 of each. So now this order of 36,000, which is a lot of money for a lot of smaller bag brands that we love here at Nomads Nation. Some of them are family owned, like Rework, Black Ember. These are small companies. So 36,000 now for one color just turned into 72,000. I believe that should be 72,000 for 2 colors, which is turned into 100,000 for 3 colors. And here's the deal, the bag brand knows that black will sell because black always sells, because I think we've done internal data and polling of this, that 70% of people who buy bags want black because it goes to everything. And then you get some greens and some tans in there, but people who are like, why are there no reds? Why are there no pinks? Why are there no purples and blues? It's like, because the bag brand's got to order the MOQ of them, and there's probably no way for a smaller brand they're gonna push all of those, at least over a short period of time. It might take a longer period of time. So when you ask, or when I read, would it kill the bag brand to make more colors? Can I have 5 options? Yeah, 5 options could actually kill the brand, because if they put too much of an investment in certain colors and those colors don't sell, then that brand could be in a lot of trouble. I think it'd be really cool. Like, I'm thinking about with Firo, like if there's people who want pink, it's like, cool, you want the pink Firo bag or the pink rework bag? We're gonna put you on its own like pink rework Toshi sling crowdfunding page with no limit. And then once it hits the number that we need it to hit, then everybody who put in that deposit for that bag will then get it. But it might take some time. But I always thought that would be like the best way to do it, but also it sounds complicated. I don't know. But ultimately, like, I get it. Like, we all want more colors, and there's just different vibes that you're feeling. Like, I'm mostly a black backpack guy, but sometimes I want tan. Sometimes I want green. And it's like the brands don't offer those colors. I wish that they did, but the truth is, just comes down to the economics game. So if you guys want more colors, you gotta buy those colors when they're in stock. Like, fun fact, like Alpaca, they'll do the hot pinks and the blues and the interesting and the reds and stuff. And then you'll see those colors end up going on like flash sales a little bit later down the line, which is usually an indication that Alpaca can't sell those colors. They're doing anything to get rid of them, and then they don't invest in them again because they don't actually sell. So it's one of those things where the supply, if it's invested in, is always larger, or typically is larger than the demand. Are there any hot takes of yours that I may have missed? If so, let me know and we can do a part 2 to this, especially if I obviously disagree with those hot takes. And like I said, the whole point of this, guys, is to have fun, was for me to rant a little bit and maybe, you know, sprinkle a little bit of backpack education on y'all. I'm learning so much running Nomadization, but also running Firo now, where I'm actually in factories in Vietnam, talking to other brand owners, talking to manufacturers and factory owners. And it's a fascinating business. And I think that although at Nomadization, our goal is to help consumers first pick their best bag, I think at the end of the day, it's interesting to explain the position and case of the backpack brands as well, so you have a greater picture of how this works and why certain things go in different directions. And if you yourself are looking for a bag and you're new to Nomadization, I welcome you. You should definitely sign up to the Nomadization newsletter, which we've linked below. And if you're looking for our top bag recommendations, you can just watch this video here, where the whole Nomadization team, we get together and pick our favorite different bags and different bag categories, so you can see the best options in the market. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Aaron, this is Nomadization, and we'll catch you next time.